In this video, I'm going to be explaining why it's really important to stop identifying so much anymore with your culture, your race, your sexual identity, any of it. How this can cause more problems in terms of dividing us further, creating hatred, shame, guilt, all of those frequencies, and how letting go of this is opening the door for us to start activating our spiritual DNA, which is what is going to bring us all more into unity consciousness. I'm also going to be explaining a little bit how we can come into unity consciousness and also individuate. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before I get started, I just want to let you know I'm doing a few more free breakthrough calls. There's a link pinned in the comment section below. So what's a breakthrough call? It's a 30-minute Zoom call where we go over your vision for your life. So what you're wanting to create, what you're wanting to manifest. And then we get into why it's not happening or happening yet, what's in the way, what's blocking you, what's stopping you, and then what can you do about it? How do you solve these issues or release the traumas so that you can embody this higher vision? Okay, so this is a very lengthy topic. I won't cover it all in this video. I have, since I was a little kid, I've always been very disturbed anytime anybody identifies too much with race or culture, whether it's positive or negative. I think it was, I read in this Bill Hicks documentary, one of his friends said he used to be really bothered by this too. And he said something to the extent of all the problems started when two different teams put on different jerseys and started competing against each other, because it's not exactly what he said, but just the essence of that creates division. Now that can create division in an individual sort of way where you individuate and are grateful for your individuality. But the problem most of us have on this planet is we don't know how to individuate without going into competition or division or anger or judgment. And so much of what's going on the planet right now is all of this shadowy aspect level of consciousness where people are divided and opposed, and they're on two different sides of a shadow frequency, which means they're the same thing. I don't get too much into politics, but left and right now, they're both embodying the shadow frequency generally of different sides of a polarity, which makes them the same. It's what's the difference between Hitler and Mao Zedong? One was extreme right, one was extreme left. There's no difference. In the end, everybody dies. It's the same energy. There might be a differentiation slightly in philosophy, but it's still based in hate the other and kill everybody. So it doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's an important thing to understand, is what is your intention behind whatever your philosophy is. And there's a lot of people out there fighting for the end of racism who are as racist as anyone has ever been. And they're not really trying to end racism, they're just trying to reverse it, because their trauma's coming up and they're vengeful and they're vindictive and they're in blame and victim consciousness. So it doesn't matter what words are coming out of their mouth. The energy that's coming out of their mouth is the same energy that they're railing against. You become what you fight is a good concept to understand. But now I'm going to get more into my own experience right now and recently with what I'm clearing around being Jewish. So I come from, my mother's lineage is Jewish, and they went through shit tons of trauma, because the Jews have just been in shit tons of trauma forever. My mother grew up in Pasadena in California, many decades ago, and she was one of the only Jews there. So she grew up always kind of feeling left out, she didn't fit, very conscientious of not wanting to be the only Jew. And one of her main goals for moving to where I ended up growing up was there was a lot of Jews there. Her father grew up in the ghettos of Cincinnati, Ohio, back in the 30s and 40s during the Holocaust, and he was constantly having to fight and defend himself and getting picked on for being Jewish. My mother's grandmother's whole family, a lot of her family, died in the Holocaust. Now, all of these things imprint in our DNA. All of these traumas, experiences imprint in our DNA. We embody and inherit and absorb the energy field of our ancestors. It's already in us when we're born, and whoever we spend the most time around as a child, we take it on. And there are many different stories that you can tell, whether you're black, white, male, female, Jewish, Christian, Catholic, Muslim. But most of them, like I said at the beginning with the extreme polarity, are variations of the same energy. Like, it doesn't really matter what happened in the year 1517 in Rome with a particular religion. If underneath the surface the basic energies are guilt, shame, and hate the other, it's meaningless. All that matters is when you reduce it down to shame, hate, guilt, division. That's what you're embodying. And that's what most of the planet has embodied, no matter what you are. Okay? Different cultures, you can tell stories about, well, my culture had it harder than yours. It's like, well, okay, that's great. What about your individual life, though? You know, and you don't know what anyone else is going through personally or collectively. And so all those kind of perceptions can just facilitate more hate and division in the end. One of the worst stories, because everything is consciousness and belief. It's not so much the physical 3D historical data. It's the basic root level belief systems that come from an ideology. For example, with the Jews, you are the chosen people. That's a horrible fucking belief system to have. Because think about what that does to your belief, positive and negative. One, it's like, oh, we're chosen. And Christians have this too in a different way. The Christians thought they were right. Every religion thinks they're right. This is the problem. This is where the lack of unity is. But with the Jews, because I'm Jewish, you are the chosen people. Well, so then what are some negative consequences of that? You think you're better than everybody else? You think you're special? And then what happens when you believe that and something negative happens? Well, now it's because you were chosen to be punished. You were the chosen one and you fell from grace. You're fucked up. You screwed up. This is what every culture did back in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th century. I've been watching this Viking show. I've been watching a lot of like Dark Ages series on Netflix for a while, and I just trip out on how every time anything would happen in their reality, they would try to come up with a story about what God or the gods were doing. And I'm always like, you don't know the answer, you're just making that up. And then you all adopt that through your belief systems, that it's like, oh, there was a flood because we were bad and God hates us. It's like, no, maybe there was a flood because God's trying to move you to a better place. And the truth is, there's not really an answer either way. It's whatever story you want to tell. But when you hold these belief systems so deeply, you start to build up all these stories about why you're fucked up or bad or being picked on. And this is the point of this video, the more you identify with that on any level, not just from the story of being Jewish or being black or being Christian or being Muslim, but just personally in your own life. And a lot of your personal perception of the world comes from your ancestral belief systems that are in your DNA. You just perpetuate that story and you serve to separate yourself more from source. That's what religion did. Religion could be like, oh, here's a bunch of different flavors of ice cream, but ultimately it's all ice cream and we all love ice cream. But that's not really what happened. It was like, chocolate's better than butter pecan. Fuck you, butter pecan. We're going to fucking kill you and wipe you out so chocolate could take over. It's like, you're lost. So religion ended up separating everybody more than it did anything else. So what do we want to start doing now? Okay, so the more I identify consciously and more importantly subconsciously, because we're all identifying subconsciously with things and we don't even know what they are, and that's why it's so important to understand your own belief systems before you do anything in the world, really. The more I serve to access and activate and perpetuate the trauma. And on a DNA level, I prevent the spiritual DNA, which is very antithetical to most religious DNA, from being activated. And the spiritual DNA is where we want to be, because that's where we all begin to unify. And so the more I've realized, there's been so much collective like Jewish trauma coming up recently, like so much. And I've been feeling it. I've been feeling attacked energetically. I've been feeling like portals open to like layers of freaking dead Jewish ghosts coming in that I've had to clear. There's all this stuff I do in my own time. I'm house sitting for my friend who's also Jewish, and it's just been this massive releasing of so much stuff. It's inconceivable, to where I haven't been able to move or get off the couch, and I've just been clearing things all day, every day for like weeks now. But one of the things I was guided to do was stop identifying with being Jewish. And that's not a judgment at all. It's like I said, don't identify too strongly with anything on an avatar human level. Identify with being the spiritual being beyond all of it. Now, you can also be like, oh, my culture's Jewish, etc. But that can only come after you really connect to unity, that you can kind of come back and like just loosely act like you have a little bit of a costume on. Most people are so identified with their costume, and therefore just keep accessing the trauma of their costume. You're more than that. You're more than the stories of your ancestry. We all are. And you can be completely connected to spirit. You can be deeply in unity consciousness and be completely your own person too. But your own person, this is the trick, is not your culture. It's not your race. It's not your sexual preference. It's deeper than that. It's your own individual soul essence, your own unique vibrational frequency. That is what is so important to start asking for and connecting to. You want to connect to that first before you add in any of the seasoning on top. You know, like obviously if you're black, everybody's going to know that you're still black, but you're not like, oh, I'm black or oh, I'm Jewish. It's like, I'm this divine being, and, you know, yeah, I might be here to move my lineage forward, but you're not moving them forward if you're over-identifying with the race or the culture, because you're just perpetuating the same trauma. You move them forward when you activate your spiritual DNA. You come into unity consciousness, and you're truly your own individual essence, kind of individuated from all that separation trauma, because then you're showing people of your lineage or race or culture or whatever, gender identity, whatever, how to access their own individual unique soul vibrational frequency. And that is what sets them free. And then each race, each culture will start to update and upgrade, and then we'll stop being so separate, and we'll stop being in the shadow frequency of right versus left, black versus white, man versus woman, all this Republican versus Democrat, when underneath the surface so many people are just in the same frequency, whatever side of perception they're taking. So really ask to be aligned with your own individual essence, your own individual soul frequency, and to activate your spiritual DNA. And to just let go of the stories of whatever you are, because most of them are just all trauma stories. And love them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great. We learn from them. We've moved forward because of them. Everything clears when you love it, not when you resist it. Because that's the shadow frequency, even resisting your own trauma patterns. If you're doing it from anger, you're in anger. But do it from love. Set the intention to let it go. And then when you get higher, like into your spiritual essence, you can have more of an idea of what you're really here to do, but you'll be doing it from a heart-centered frequency, not from division, polarity, and us all trying to kill each other. Well, let me know what you think of that. Let me know if you have any questions, concerns, revelations, breakthroughs. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate everybody who watches my videos. Other than that, I have a free energy clearing in the description below if you want some help kind of connecting to this frequency in yourself. Other than that, thank you so much. I look forward to next time. Bye-bye.